Good afternoon, all the dignitaries, office bearers of Central AHA, those who have joined our state, Maharashtra State AHA. Raigad AHA with Raigad IIP and Palghar Academy of Pediatrics are very much delighted to connect to you this afternoon. Along with this, our Navi Mumbai Doctors Association General Practitioner Group and my Rotary Club Kharghar Midtown has also joined. Thank you very much. Friends, the science is ever changing. We are in phase of education for all. The things which were evolved over centuries by dedicated scientists spending their lifetime is dispersed with a click of button. You know, the first headphone were invented in 1881. They were used in Second World War. And a remote control device in 1898. A touch screen was first prepared in 1971. And we use it. And we find that our infants and toddlers pick up better than us. So, as a responsible doctors, responsible citizens, parents and grandparents, are we right or wrong? Let's know this sensitive topic from our today's experts and international speaker. With me, I'm very happy to introduce to you Dr. Jayashree Deshpande, our sister organization from Palghar Academy of Pediatrics, to welcome all the guests.
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries and my friends. I am really happy and delighted today to witness a knowledge bonanza. Online searching, learning, and socialization are the norms in today's world. We all agree that digital literacy is prerequisite to be smart today. However, it is a double-edged sword. I think it should have an age and cultural specificity if it is available to the kids. We should also have an impact assessment tool to see the overall effect of this internet access in physical, mental, social, and spiritual health of the highly vulnerable teens which we are witnessing today. Today, I am honored to have to co-host this session, and I request Dr. Vikas More, President IIP Raigad, to talk give us words of wisdom.
Over to Dr. Vikas.
Thank you so much, madam. At the outset, from the IIP Raigad, I invite all of you along with IIP Palghar and AHA Palghar. I am very proud that AHA Raigad is one of the best branches in country which is doing continuously innovative activities like this. Today we are blessed with the speakers like Dr. Preeti Galgali from Bangalore, who will be talking on digital exploration in children, to use or not to use, and our own Dr. Shilpa with the topic of effect of social media on early child development. Like when I first saw this flyer or the topic, I understood that parents have an urge to control the social media of children so that they are not exposed to that. But the problem is that the children are imperfect, but at the same time, parents are also imperfect. they are also not perfect. So I was reading the Ishopanishad, where it is said that we have 4 defects. First is we are prone to commit mistakes. Second is we have a cheating propensity. Third is we live in illusory world. And the fourth is our senses are imperfect. We are not born with a perfect senses. So we are not Lord. We are normal human beings. So as a human being or as a parent with aspiring to control the child, first he should control himself. Like I was watching a short video where a father asked child to stop watching video for 1 hour, but she put a condition that you also don't watch. But it was not possible for him to keep the mobile aside for 1 hour. So that shows the weakness of the parents. And if we work on the parents, then definitely the children will grow wise. And thank you, Chitra Madam and Swati Madam, for moderating this session. And best of luck for this wonderful session. Over to you, Madam.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
so much,
request Dr.
Dr.
Jayashree to introduce the speakers.
Yeah, our first speaker is Dr. Shilpa Nambiar Gandhi, and she is a developmental pediatrician from Powai. She has done her fellowship in neurodevelopment and behavioral pediatrics from Mumbai, and she will be talking on effects of media on early development in infants and children. Our second speaker, I would like to introduce because she is an international figure, and Dr. Preeti Galgalia Madam. She is a co-chairperson of Education Committee of International Association of Adolescent Health. She is also co-chairperson of Nutrition Committee of Society of Adolescent Health USA. She has more than 100 publications and 200 scientific talks worldwide, and now we will be witnessing the another one. At present, she is a director of Adolescent Care and Counseling Center and Manipal Hospital, Bangalore. We are eager to learn from you, madam. Let us welcome Dr. Preeti Galgalia, madam, with loud applause. Welcome, madam, to our this Zoom platform. Now I request Dr. Shilpa Nambiar Gandhi to start her talk.
We request Pallavi ma'am to start her recorded video, as her connectivity is not that good. She may join later on. We will see her presentation now. Pallavi ma'am, please share.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Shilpa Nambiar Gandhi, and today I am going to speak about effects of internet and social media on early child development. At the outset, I would like to thank Raigad IIP and Raigad Adolescent Health Branch for giving me this opportunity. So, what are the sources of media? There was a stage 2 to 3 decades back when there were limited media access, and today there are multiple media sources of media, multiple applications, multiple sites, and everything at a finger click distance. So there was a Times of India survey which was conducted in 2021 about the use of social media for by kids. So which showed that 94.8% of the kids used internet devices or smartphones for online learning, out of which 30.2% of the kids ranging from 8 to 18 years had their own smartphone devices, and around 42.9% of the kids have a social networking account. This is a very this is a scene that we can see almost on day-to-day basis. Children, when they go out for meals, when they are at the restaurants, they are with their smartphones or the mobiles. Even when the kids go out to play, when they meet each other, the center of attraction is the mobile device. But what is more alarming is this picture. A child who is around 6 months of age is already exposed to screens. He is very attracted to the screens. He does not want to leave it daytime, nighttime, even when they are with their parents. And when you expect them to be playing outside, all the kids inside they are together, but they are watching their screens. We divide child development usually into 4 domains: motor domain, language, social, and cognitive domain. So, physical development, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, holding of objects, transferring of objects, develops by the age of almost 5 to 6 months of age. Language development is not just restricted to speaking words but understanding of words, recognizing when someone calls, communicating by use of gestures, non-verbal body language, non-verbally. Everything is in language development, and later on words. Speaking of meaningful words usually starts by 1.5 years of age, and by 2 years of age child will be able to join two words and speak. Cognitive development starts from understanding the world around, object permanence, searching for object which has been hid, knowing the understanding, knowing objects by their names, association, and social and emotional is relating with the parents and recognizing their parents, which starts as early as 2 months of age, to understanding who their close family members are, and trying to build a relation with other children, emotional behavior, and self identity. So maximum brain development happens in the first 5 years of age. Usually it starts from intrauterine stage, and it goes first 3 years is the time when 90% of the child's brain development has already happened. And slowly with experiences the higher cognitive functions, with experiences and exposure the higher cognitive functions develop. So when we say cognition, it starts from birth to 2 years. There is the sensory motor stage when the child interacts with the environment by moving, by manipulating himself and understanding. From 2 to 6 to 7 years of age, the child is able to perceive objects. He is able to understand the function of certain objects, imitate gestures, imitate actions, and language development. So the child here can pretend play, so he will act, he will imitate his parents and say that today we are at a tea party and you have to enjoy with me. So this kind of an interaction starts between 2 to 6 years of age. By 6 years they start developing executive functioning skills. So they are aware, much more aware of the surrounding. They are aware of how much time to give, attention improves, logical reasoning to objects which are real happen at this stage. And post 12 years of age, post 11 years to 11 to 12 years of age is when the abstract thinking comes in, when they are able to reason, and logically they can come to a conclusion of what is right, what is wrong. So social media impacts has a huge impact on the health and development of children, and it depends on the time and how early has the child been exposed to. So let's start with the physical development. Excessive screen time leads to sedentary lifestyle. It decreases their play time which they can play outdoors, and so they are at one place, which causes to lot of munching, and the child is at a higher risk of obesity. The posture which the child develops stays. There is poor motor coordination because the child is not exposed to different scenarios of physical development, and which leads to lack of confidence and lack of competence. Even visual impairments, dry eyes, refractive error increases in case of excessive screen time. So there are research which says that having screen time of more than 3 hours a day have a 65% higher risk of developing obesity. Sleep hygiene, the blue light which is emitted from the laptops or mobiles interfere with the circadian rhythm, disturbing the natural sleep-wake cycle, which leads to delays in falling asleep, which causes disturbed sleep. All this leads to the child being sleepy at home, and because of which he has a poor academic performance, which leads to having behavioral issues at home and at school. So there was a survey done with the teachers and parents of the kids who have excessive screen habits, they found that they have more than 2%, they have a higher chances of attention deficits. Language and social development, as we saw, it starts from as early as 2 months, 2 to 4 months of age by nonverbal. But these language attainment, if they are taken by the screens, when the screens are in picture more than the parents or the caregiver to show social to show emotions or to teach them, or real life interactions. So all these have a decrease effect on the quality and quantity of the interaction of the child and the caregivers. So language abilities are definitely affected, back and forth interaction is affected, learning via having real life interactions is affected, and there is a difficulty in forming and maintaining relationships at a later stage. So TV exposure between 6 months to 18 months of age has been associated with increased aggression, externalizing behaviors. There was a study which was done in 2017 at the Hospital of Sick Children in Toronto, where around 1,000 children between the ages of 6 to 12 months were assessed. So at the 18 months checkup, almost 20% of the children having an average handheld device use for around 28 minutes average were taken in consideration, which showed that the children who were infants who were exposed to handheld screen devices had a risk of expressive speech delay. So every 30-minute increase in handheld screen time was linked to 49% increased risk of expressive speech delay. So the study did not find any link between the handheld device and areas of communication by use of gestures or body language and social interaction, but there was a definite delay in expressive language development. Cognition. So this is one more point, one more question that we usually get कि मेरा बेटा तो मेरे से कुछ सीखा नहीं है, जितना भी सीखा है टीवी में देख के सीखा है या लैपटॉप में या मोबाइल से सीखा है, वही रिपीट करता है, उसी में वही बोलता है, मेरे से तो कुछ सीखा नहीं है. So there was one more study, experimental study, which was done back in 2007, where around 48 toddlers between the age of 15 to 24 months were taken and were exposed to 4 different presentations. The first was an adult speaker with live presentation, and the toddler was attending with a joint reference with the parent. Then the second instance was an adult via live presentation, but toddler was also busy with some or the other thing. The third was adult with speaker on TV, and the fourth was through small edited clips from a TV show. So this result showed that most successful way of learning was when the child was in joint reference condition, co-viewing with the parent, and the least successful was when the child was exposed to edited clips. So both younger 15 to 21 months and 22 to 24 months participants identified the object that was told by adult speaker, but were less successful with the TV, just by any TV show. Meaning that, which also suggested that children at a younger age needs some kind of social interaction, but an older toddler may even learn certain contexts with a video device alone. Screens also take a toll on the psychological health because there is a lack of social emotional connection with the parents. They are less sensitive to others' emotions. The contents shown on the TV, the violence, the children become desensitized to it because they are not at a stage of understanding of abstract thinking to understand what the consequences are, which make them more aggressive. The fast-paced images on the screens leads them to have lack of attention, and instant stimulus makes them impatient and have poor self-regulation, poor executive functioning because of poor exposures to real life experiences make them have poor planning, decision making, which which they further when in later stages they look like ADHD, or they may have phobias, anxiety disorders, and depressive disorders. So it even comes in way of their life skill achievements. By the age of 4 years, 4 to 5 years, a child is usually independent in activities of daily living, like feeding, dressing. But because the child is spending more time in front of the screen and is being fed by the parents, they don't understand how to manage time, they don't understand coordination. So problem solving abilities come in between. They are not able to do that by themselves. Imaginative play have never been, because they are continuously exposed to the screen. Outdoor exploration does not matter, and creativity and critical thinking skills are also affected. So my concluding will be that electronic media has a very positive role in our day-to-day living, but in moderation, if appropriately used and at a right time. So manage the child's screen use. Less than 2 years, it has no benefits. So no screen time for a child who is less than 2 months. If screens has to be given, it can only be through some video calling to a relative or a person. After that, till 6 years, it is best if you are co-viewing with the child, so that the child can be made understood of what he is seeing, or there can be it can be related. And post that also, there has to be a fixed time limit, so that the child gets equal proper physical play. He gets equal time for his education, for his other activities. Thank you so much.
Dr. Shilpa.
Thank you very much. Over to our Vice President, Raigad AHA, Dr. Swati Likhite.
Thank you, madam. It was a wonderful presentation by by Dr. Shilpa. Now moving ahead, over the last decade, there is a sudden change in our day-to-day life. Growing brain is very sensitive, and it's just like a sponge. It absorbs all good and bad. How to tackle this? So we are eagerly waiting for our for your presentation, madam, Dr. Preeti, madam. Please start.
Thank you so much for this warm invite. I'd like to thank Dr. Chitra, Dr. Jayashri, Dr. Vikas, team AHA Palghar, IAP Palghar, and also AHA Raigad. So, can you all see my screen?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So this is a very interesting topic, and I'm sure, I will learn more from you after the interaction as we go through. So let's jump right into the clinic. And after that very fine presentation by Shilpa, which actually, gave us an excellent review of how the media affects children and adolescents, a 12-year-old, he refuses to go to school, says the mother. He sleeps only for a few hours and he plays mobile games the whole day. And I think such patients are becoming more and more commonly presenting to our clinic than before. And we all know that children and adolescents of today are digital natives. And in fact, to put it lightly, people have said probably the digital use starts in utero. And we are digital migrants and we need to adapt to this digital world. But I see that parents are adapting more quickly than ever. And the mother with a lamp is soon replaced with a mother and a father with a mobile. And family times are defined with a laptop. And here you can see a 1.5-year-old. The parents and the grandparents are so excited, and so is his brother when he says the first word "la" for a laptop rather than amma or appa. So times are indeed changing. So to use or not to use, is it really a question? Digital media has become a part of our life. I think the question is not to use or not to use, but how to use. I think that becomes very, very important. And IAP laid down its guidelines of screen time and digital wellness, which were published in 2022 Indian Pediatrics, and also guidelines for parents. And I will urge all of you to read these guidelines because these give in detail what all a pediatrician and a parent needs to know. So in the next few minutes, I'll go through a few practice pearls of these guidelines, talk to you a little bit about anticipatory guidance, which we all can give in our clinics, and a few thoughts about looking ahead. Screen time, can we even measure it? Just imagine you're going on the road and you have this digital advertising board. You go to the petrol bunk and you have a digital screen device there. So actually screens are present everywhere. I think the time has come to shift from rather the screen time, we should be measuring the non-screen time, which is really, really important in the current era. And what is digital well-being? Digital well-being is the conscious use of technology, enabling individuals and communities to realize their potential. And there are actually 5 components of adolescent well-being, very similar to the early childhood nurturing care framework. And let's go through these components. The first one is good health and optimum nutrition. Digital media, does it give us good health and optimum nutrition? Of course it does. We survived the COVID only because of the digital media. And you will all agree with me on that aspect, though the collateral damage was there with an increase in mental disorders amongst especially children and adolescents and even adults, and an increase in problematic internet use. So it's the way we use it that will determine whether it gives us good health. And about nutrition, there are many good recipes available on the internet, which adolescents often tap into and even cook themselves. On the other hand, we know advertising has a big role in unhealthy nutrition. Connectedness, positive values, and contribution to the society. You know about climate change and how youth voices are making a difference. Connectedness with their parents when they are in a different foreign country, in a different state, really matters to the internet. But then hate messages also get down the connectedness and positive values. A safe and a supportive environment, especially for those with learning disabilities or those LGBTQI, definitely the internet does give them a supportive community environment. But on the other hand, online sexual solicitation is a big risk to the safety. Learning, competence, education, skills, and employability on a high with online education, but cyber loafing. So the online class is on, but you are loafing into an internet game, that would decrease the academic performance. Urgency and resilience, confidence and resilience, especially for those who are introverts, it gives a fantastic platform to really display creativity, your art, your music, and dance talent. But on the other hand, if there is body shaming and cyberbullying, this can really get the adolescent and the child down. So as you will see, there are 2 sides of the coin, and how we use it becomes essentially important. What about the adolescent brain? We know that when adolescent brain gets a like on the social media, the reward center lights up. In the adolescent period, there's increased impulsivity, instant gratification. They crave for a reward. They want to belong. And social media gives all of this and more. The fear of missing out, the fear of being left out is immense for an adolescent if they are not on the social media. And in this chaotic digital world, it is important to go back to our roots, tell the adolescent to slow down, probably spend some time in meditation to really ensure calm in the chaos. So coming to the IAP guidelines on screen time, Swati has already mentioned a few of them. The most important thing is that before you give a device to the child, digital rules have to be formulated. For how much time, for what purpose, should be very clear. And as you will understand, these rules will change with age. Extra rules may be added and few old rules may be deleted. So below 2 years of age, and we have enough evidence, the children should not be exposed to any type of screen. The evidence is very, very clear. 2 to 5 years, limited to a maximum of 1 hour of supervised screen time. So co-viewing is a must. 5 to 10 years, less than 2 hours per day. For adolescents and at all ages, screen time must not replace physical activity, which is 1 hour for an adolescent of moderate to vigorous activity and at least 3 times in a week of strength building exercises. Sleep for an adolescent is almost 8 to 9 hours. Family and peer interaction is must. Studies and skill development hobbies, which are necessary for health and development, should not be compromised. And if all this is compromised, then it is definitely unhealthy media use. Families should ensure a warm, nurturing, supportive, fun-filled, secure environment and have plenty of screen-free fun time so that the child or the adolescent is not attracted towards the screen. Monitor their child's screen use and ensure that it is educational, age appropriate, and non-violent content. I think the evidence is very clear about aggression and media use, so we should be especially careful about that. In addition, you all know about the food pyramid. We also have a digital diet pyramid, which says the maximum use of the digital media should be learned for learning, education, collaboration, and creation, and minimum use for isolated gaming. Because when children are doing isolated gaming, they are more prone to cyberbullying, and they also are not only the victims but also the perpetrators, apart from getting into intergaming addiction disorder, which we know is a DSM-5 characterized mental disorder now. And if they go online, again the IAP has very clear guidelines, how many sessions, for how much time, how many days per week. These guidelines came during the COVID time, and these are available according to the different classes. It's not only about how much you use and what you use, it's also about the way your body posture is to decrease repetitive stress injury and to take care of ergonomics. The elbow should be at a 90-degree angle, and also the angle between the thigh and the leg should also be 90-degree. While seeing the mobile, the neck should be erect rather than bent down. If it's bent down, the weight on the spine increases and it is responsible for a lot of neck pain. So all this needs to be told to the parents and also to the adolescent. For computer vision syndrome, which is very responsible for headaches, it is advised every 20 minutes. It may not be possible every 20 minutes, but definitely every 30 to 40 minutes. It's good to take a break for 20 seconds and look at an object 20 feet away. Not only this, do some flexibility exercises like rotation of the neck, rotation of the shoulders, clockwise and anti-clockwise, and of the wrist, clockwise and anti-clockwise. This decreases repetitive stress injury. And of course, no multitasking. It has been shown by repeated studies that media multitasking decreases concurrent learning. Even if they have to use a device for learning, let it be just one device. They have their headphones on, they have their iPad on, they have the music on, they have the phone ringing. No, it's a strict no, only one device at a time, if at all you need to use it for learning. Media literacy. Have a look at this advertisement of Pepsi, where Virat Kohli is, advertising for it. And look at these 5 set of questions which we asked for critical thinking. Who made this message? Pepsi did. Pepsi used Virat Kohli to meet Virat Kohli as a kind of, I can say it's like a bribe. You drink Pepsi, you collect those emojis, you can meet Virat Kohli, and if You can play great like Virat Kohli, as is shown behind him. And how would others see this message? So you drink a lot of Pepsi, you get a chance to meet Virat Kohli, and you also get to play great cricket. What is not included? What is not included is if you have too much of Pepsi, you become obese, you cannot play good cricket. The Pepsi is going to leach away calcium from your bones and you are going to get weak bones. And why was this message created? Obviously, to increase the Pepsi sale. So luckily, I think Virat Kohli heard us talking about media literacy, and in the recent times, Virat Kohli has actually moved away from Pepsi, and he says, "मैं खुद नहीं पीता तो दूसरों को कैसे कहूँ पीने के लिए." So I wish that more and more celebrities come and take this challenge and say that we are not going to endorse unhealthy stuff. Also to tell to the adolescent that whatever you post on the media is like a digital footprint. So you have to be very careful what you post, and it can never be erased actually. So later in life, when you go for a career, there may be people who would go through your social media messages. So think before you post, and think is an acronym which stands for whatever you post, is it true? Is it hurtful? Is it illegal? Is it necessary? Is it kind? So this is what the adolescent has to be told, and so have the parents need to be told this. And if there is a cybercrime like cyberbullying, do not delete the message, save the message, take a screenshot, and you could call the cybercrime cell. Most important is the parents should tell that the adolescent should confide in them. As we are talking about different numbers like 1930, I must also share with you that the digital media also, and media as it is, often offers us many helpline numbers, and these are a must share with all adolescents: a digital detox helpline, a telemanas helpline, a national de-addiction helpline, the child line, and the 112. So this is a must slide share with all parents and adolescents. To summarize the IAP digital wellness guidelines, we need to nurture responsible digital citizenship and digital hygiene. Balance between online and offline activities, boundaries. Privacy should be respected. There should be digital etiquette. Treat the other person as you want yourself to be treated. So no offensive messages is a very important message to be given to all adolescents. Parents need to monitor online activity. They should communicate with the child or the adolescent, encouraging co-viewing, talking about media literacy, ergonomics, cyber safety, telling them digital friends whom you don't know in person should never be met alone. Very, very important, and try to become a digital leader. So in the interest of an acronym, BBC, balance, boundaries, communication is what you need to remember. There should be digital free zones like the kitchen, dining table, bedroom, driving a vehicle. Digital fasting is extremely important every day so that the whole family can spend fun-filled media-free time together. Parents need to role model, judicious media use, mentor and monitor, and keep a tab on their media use so that they can spend time with the children and detect flag signs of problematic use early. And what are the flag signs? The flag signs are if an adolescent has a constant urge to use the media, a compulsive urge to use the media, loses control over his use, continues to use media despite the consequences like anger or poor academic performance or social isolation. So we should have an antenna up. Usually problematic use is associated with depression, ADHD, anxiety disorders, and sometimes even OCD, especially selfitis, where the individual takes more than 6 selfies in a day without any reason. So if Chitra comes to my house and I take selfies with her, 6 is okay. But if I'm taking it alone every day, 6, it's something is wrong. I probably have a body image issue as well there. So that needs a really close monitoring and assessment. Of course, antivirus and parental control softwares are there for younger children. Remember, parental control software does not work for the older child. They will hack into it. So more and more communication is the key here. What should pediatricians do? So I have given you tips for anticipatory guidance, for screening. Management probably will discuss in question and answer session. Community programs and advocacy is extremely important. Schools should ensure that they do not use too much of the digital devices. Nowadays, all the homework is coming on WhatsApp. The schools are using lots and lots of digital monitors, so they need to check on that. And IAP must advocate for and enable a healthy digital environment by partnership with adolescents, with community, with media houses. We need to partner with them, tell them to really bring out more child and adolescent friendly material, government agencies, and also the regulators. There are a lot of new things which are coming up. There are some digital hotspots that I call. And are we going to have a new specialty of medicine, digital health physicians? Just to share with you, Dr. Michael Rich from Boston, he calls himself a mediatrician, even though he's a pediatrician. And he has done some amazing work in the field of digital media use in children and adolescents. Dr. Manoj Sharma, who's a clinical psychologist from NIMHANS, he heads the services for healthy use of technology. So we have these physicians who are specializing. Probably we'll going to have a MD and probably a DM later. So what is the need? We need updated IAP guidelines which talk about social media history taking. How do social media algorithms work? How do they pull the child towards themselves? What about telemedicine? What are the guidelines? Government of India has the guidelines, but again, they need to be refined. What about metaverse, artificial intelligence? Does media use change the brain? As far as the research which is available right now, it does not. All the associations, they're only associations and it is not causal, but more research is needed, and research is actually ongoing both in US and in India. We need to partner with media moguls. There is more about cyber safety and cyber laws. We know that Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita was recently released on 1st of July, and actually cyberbullying has been for the first time defined well there. And remember, young people are the experts. They know about their health needs, the technologies they use, how they access information. So we must learn to partner with them. And I would request all of you to publish what little you do in this field. We have published a few papers on digital failure, digital anger, esports, telecounseling, and role of telemedicine. Also remember to publish in the lay press. Recently, we published a paper on pornography. So it's very important that we reach out to the community. Coming back to the case, you'll be wondering what happened to this child, and you'll be more than surprised to know that one counseling session with the parent and one counseling session with the child did magic. And after that, the mother said, my child is back in school. What happened? So what happened was that in privacy and confidentiality, we took a detailed head psychosocial history, which covers a history taking in home, education, activities, drugs, suicide, substance use, and safety. Adolescent said, doctor, I need help in my studies. I don't want to go for tuition. During COVID, my parents used to play table tennis with me, and I had a table tennis table in the house. But now my parents are no longer interested. Can they play back again with me, and can they help me in my studies? Talk to the parents, said, take a few days off. Both of you are software engineers, work from home. It was back to television, and it was back to table tennis, away from the media, and the child developed a lot of satisfaction and happiness in interacting with the parents and in going back to school. So knowing what the child really wants and what he's getting from the media, why is he using the media, is extremely, extremely important. So if you want to learn more, we have this book by Dr. M.K.C. Nair, Adolescent Counseling. We are going to be releasing the second edition soon, which will have articles by Dr. Manoj Sharma himself. And Michael Rich, I was talking about him. He has taken out this parenting book, very recently released. I would urge all of you to have a look at the Mediatrician's Guide. So the key messages are media is an integral part of life. So let's not shy away from using it, but learn how to use it in a healthy, joyful, safe, responsible, and age-appropriate manner. Follow IAP guidelines and be on the watch out for updated guidelines. Detect flag signs of problematic use and mental distress and disorders. Parents should be encouraged to be role models. Parents should look for happiness with their children beyond media. Family time, multiple sensory stimulation, play, connect with nature, spiritualities, and hobbies. Of course, we and the parents both need to keep updated with the latest media trends, which the children are very updated with. And of course, more longitudinal research is needed. And the last request to all of you, just after this webinar is over, switch your phone off, sit down, watch your breath. You will see all the missed calls and the unread messages the universe has sent you. Use media mindfully. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. An excellent session, excellent presentation, and I'm sure everyone will take so many lessons from your talk. And it was really clear and a very knowledgeable presentation. So now let's take up some question answers. I'm sure many people are having some questions. So let's take a few of them.
Yes,
Neha?
Dr. Neha, any questions you see in chat box or you want to ask some questions?
Ma'am, in the chat box, everyone is praising the presentation.
Yes, it is a
Uh,
mesmerizing talk. I agree.
And we welcome Hema Bindu ma'am also. She is, I
Ma'am,
think,
please unmute and you can talk.
Thank
evening,
you. Good
ma'am.
evening. Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Neha and Dr. Swati, Dr. my friend Chitra, all of you. I can see Dr. Preeti, as always, she's very, captivating, and she speaks with so much energy. And this topic itself is so needed. And sometimes there's a question, I think, a little bit, how do we balance? And we ourselves are so much into media. We are always, I was just thinking, I saw this, there's a program somewhere in some WhatsApp, and it took me half an hour to just locate, and then I joined in a little late. So there are so many WhatsApp groups and so many programs going on. And I, for us itself, it is so difficult to be attending so many webinars, and we are on the online all the time. So how do we tell this to our young people? Really balancing is so difficult. Talking about it is easy, but really doing that practically is very difficult. But we need to do it. This is really going haywire. So many problems, mental problems, physical, relationship problems are there, academics, so much exposure to unnecessary things and all that. Really, it is very much needed. We all have to do something, and we are from the Central AHA, and we are bringing out something on digital wellness. So request Dr. Preeti also will take her inputs, and we are coming out with guidelines are already there, but then we'll be updating that, and also digital wellness is we are going to think about it for the next year when I'll be the chair. Metabolic, digital, and sexual wellness will be the priority. We all have to work together. We are 3,200 members. We can create a change. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. I wish you all the best. And AHA Raigarh is really doing innovative programs. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I am happy to share with you that Dr. Hema Bindu Singh from Hyderabad is our president-elect at the national level. Thank you, ma'am, for joining and giving
Thank
your
you.
valuable
I would
input.
also like to welcome all of you to Pedicon 2025 Hyderabad.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All the best, Preeti.
Thank you. Thank you, Bindu.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Should
we
I
just
ask?
One question.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
question. In genetics, we say that 40% is only genetics and the 60% extra is epigenetics. So, do this digital media impact our genes as well, or the epigenetics, which is having expression of diseases or expression of our well-being?
Oh, that's an excellent question, Jayashree. That's really making me think, how could we do it? So I definitely know for sure that substance use disorder has an epigenetic effect. That's for 100% sure. So definitely we know that unhealthy media use can also encourage substance use disorder, right? By different means. It could be the mental disorder itself, which can cause, more, and substance accessibility. So then they get most of their substances by ordering on the media, right? So it definitely has. And if you go into a different bifurcation, if you think about nutrition, which also has an epigenetic effect, I'm sure there would be a kind of additive effect, even though I have not really read as of now from the literature which I have read. Maybe if somebody has read something on epigenetics and media use, it would be worth going into it. But another thing is genetics definitely has a role to play in media use, because attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, all the disorders which have the impulse control disorders, definitely they increase the use of media, right? And they increase aggression, and they increase all the neurodevelopmental issues which come as a packet with ADHD, even the learning issues.
I
Yeah.
just want to pitch in here, if I'm permitted. There is evidence. I know we must be seeing for hardcore studies have to happen, but there is already a understanding that it has an impact. The radiation and all those things has an impact on the DNA. So over the years, maybe there could be some mutations can happen. So these things are there, but it is we need to really study, and some cohort studies need to be done on this.
And if I can just carry, I just remembered, we wrote a paper on anticipatory guidance for mobile phone use in pregnant women. And we analyzed a few of the studies in which we said that if you keep the mobile phone on a pregnant uterus, the radiations go in and may have an effect in utero on the brain. Right? Apart from affecting the pregnant woman as such, about her mood swings, her health, her nutrition, so all that it has an effect, but also it may have an in utero effect. And for less than 16 years, it is supposed to be that they should, though it is not very clear whether it causes malignancy or not. It's not, the last word has not been said still, but less than 16 years, because the brain skull is thin, they need to keep the mobile phone away while speaking. Okay, so there may still be an effect of radiation. So studies are still not sure, though some studies have shown, even thyroid cancer, some studies have shown children who sleep with a mobile. So I think as time goes, yes, we will get to. Yes.
DNA is heat by.
Yeah, even the sperm quality, because we did the preconception care module. So there I came across a lot of literature saying that its impacts on the quality of the sperms also. So,
yes.
So we have to be careful right from the preconception period.
Exactly. The laptop kept on the lap, it heats up the testes. That is one of the ways, and it also gives some radiation there. So we have to be careful. And men keep their mobile phone in their pockets, right? So that is another thing to be kind of explored. So as time goes, we'll get a lot of evidence.
Right. I think Dr. Nilima Bhandarkar is there. Nilima Bhandarkar.
Yeah, there is another question in the chat box.
Yeah. Yes.
Dr. Jayashree Shivalkar has asked, many adolescents refuse counseling, and moment they know it is for mobile, how you deal with this?
Very interesting question. So, firstly, if they don't want to come, forget the mobile, they'll not come at all, right? So that becomes a challenge, and I usually then work with the parents. Try to understand what is happening in the house, and then you would also realize that the parents may have a mental disorder. There may be marital conflicts. So if we can set the home environment correct, we can do a lot of changes. If the adolescent comes to me, and sometimes they'll say, oh, I'm just here because my parents got me here. I was not interested. Nothing is wrong with me. Why don't you counsel them? So then I start the conversation. Oh, does that happen at home often? Are you forced to do things which you don't want to do? Would you like to share more with me? Maybe I could help you in that aspect, how to deal with your parents. And they love it. They love it because now the focus has changed from them to the parents, So that is another way of reaching out to them.
There is another question in the chat box. Dr. Anjali Gokarna has asked, is mobile addiction same as drug addiction?
Again, a great question. Now, if we are to understand, drug addiction. So if we see the phases, it starts as recreational use initially, right? Then it goes to problematic use, then it goes to addiction, then it goes to tolerance, then it goes to withdrawal. So does mobile kind of, I'll put quotes in quotes, does it follow this? Probably it does. Probably I say, because if you go into the mechanism of how drugs act, so mostly what the drugs do is that they inhibit the dopamine reuptake. They block the dopamine and they flood the synaptic cleft with dopamine, right? That is how they do. Now remember here, what happens when they use too much of mobile, though there's a lot of dopamine surge, but there's nothing there's not a chemical, right? It's not blocking the reuptake. So what people say is, probably this is akin to binge eating. Okay, so you eat more, so much, and then you go and vomit. That is what is usually what happens in binge eating. So this is more like a binge eating disorder rather than a substance addiction. And addiction is always associated with a lot of stigma. And we kind of, though sometimes we aim for zero abstinence for drugs. We try to aim, many times we are not very successful. But please remember, as far as digital media is used, abstinence is not at all possible. Like I told you, digital media is everywhere. So there are a few differences from drug use and addiction, and let's term it as problematic internet use. I think that is a better kind of terminology to use, and it gives us also, a better kind of frame of mind to deal with it. It's a problem and we need to. So internet addiction is not yet a DSM-5 recognized mental disorder, though they have said it is under research, it needs more research, though internet gaming disorder is definitely under the DSM-5 now.
There is
Yes,
another
can I
question
ask
by
one?
Dr. Anuradha,
Yeah.
that schools are using digital boards, so kids are exposed to screen in the school for whole day. So what action we should take for the same?
So I think, for the younger children, we do have those guidelines, right? And we have also seen that excess digital media is responsible for astigmatism and refractory errors. And you know why? Mainly because children outside, they don't go out into the sunlight, and sunlight is essential for the optic globe growth. So we have to kind of tell, maybe, just one period, maybe only one period where you use the board and rest you don't. Right? So I think that would be, because we are also allowing the rest of the time that they might come and use back at home, right? So maybe one would be a little bit more kind of easy thing to do and tell the school. And we can take the guidelines along always and show them this is what IAP says.
Okay, next question you want to ask, or shall I ask? Ma'am,
there is
it's a
interesting question.
Yeah.
She's writing that Dr. Preeti, should children be allowed to play games like Free Fire in which they collab with others? My child, who is age 12, argues that it builds his reflex skills and communication skills.
Wow, and he's right. I can tell you this, if you see the studies which are done on video games, there are also, some advantages of playing video games, but again, in moderation. In moderation is the key. And the second thing is that he should not interact with people who are not safe, dangerous. So this is what we need. So if he's playing with his classmates, They're interacting, because this is also a social media site. The gaming is also a social media site where they communicate with each other. So probably with the classmates whom he knows, and the communication is, if you see any unhealthy message or anything which disturbs you, come and talk to me, maybe still okay. Say for half an hour, maybe still okay. And the child is playing outside for 1 hour, finishing the homework, doing great in studies, and interacting with you, having meals with you, I think there is no harm. And Bindu asked a very interesting question. How do we balance? So, time management is in the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex only matures by 24 years of age. And we often tell adolescents, why don't you follow the timetable? How many times have I told you? Please remember, they are actually not developmentally ready. But you must also remember that the brain is under construction, and the neuronal connections which are formed now will get hardwired for life. So it is the time to actually teach them time management and help them if they are not able to follow. I often tell adolescents to make a timetable on a daily basis. That is what I tell them. So tomorrow they may have an assignment to submit. Tomorrow they may have a class test. So how many hours do you have after school? How many hours are you going to play? How much are you going to go out and spend on your hobbies? What is the time remaining? And when they do this kind of calculation on a daily basis, they just realize they have just 30 minutes, which are really possible. And some days even that is not possible, because they do it themselves with the help of their parents. They tend to follow it. Often parents make a timetable, or an elder brother or sister makes a timetable, which they do not follow. And a daily timetable, it just doesn't work on a regular basis, that, okay, this is your time for playing, this is your time for sleeping. It may not work, because every day is different. Assignments are different, tests are different. You may have visitors in your house. So all that has to be accounted for while making a timetable. And the timetable is just what you need to do after school.
Any other questions? Or the basic question what Dr. Nilima Bhandarkar has asked, that what are the guidelines for parents and grandparents about digital media? Because the child is automatically hooked to screen because of them.
Absolutely. So I think I've been emphasizing again and again, it all starts with the parents, So they have to, for a newborn baby, they feel so excited. Oh, my child is smiling at the change of colors. Well, there's nothing to be excited about. You shouldn't be showing the screen at the first instance. So I often tell the parent, when the child is awake, switch off the screen, play with the child. Okay, so that is what is, and if you want to see the screen when the child is sleeping. That is what is my advice to them. And as much of time as the parents spend in interaction is great. We have already given a few timelines which the parents can follow. And I think this needs to be shared with all the parents at different age groups. What are the, the minimum time or the maximum time that can be spent? And grandparents, nowadays grandparents are also on the media quite a lot. I've seen that. So grandparents also need to be mindful about their use and spend as much time interacting and keeping the connect with the child. I think that's important.
Yes.
Madam, one question.
Yes.
Preeti ma'am, I
Yes.
read somewhere that there is a difference between passive and active social media use. That is, when you look something on YouTube or you are reading some information from Wikipedia, it is just one-way communication. The platform is telling you something. But other things, that is making video or reels and posting it and then seeing the likes, it becomes an interactive and active use of social media. So will you suggest there should be a age limit for using these active social media platforms? Because for showing the nursery rhymes, you may use YouTube videos and a child may be seeing that. So how can we safeguard a child from these? Because seeing the likes and how many people have watched your video, your storytelling, and how many people like it, that may give dopamine rise to them. So how to handle these?
Yes. So see, I think Shilpa mentioned this, that if somebody is sitting with the child, with a younger child I'm talking about, they tend to learn much more, the
Right.
co-viewing and the
Oh,
interaction. So yeah, so that is important. See, our trouble with problematic media interactive use, should I say that, the problem here is that they may get likes only from that one source. Okay,
right.
what we are trying to do is that they should be having multiple other sources of getting likes in real life rather than depending only on the
Correct.
virtual. So,
Okay.
when they clean up their table, can we say great job? I like the way
Mhm.
you cleaned your table. We often neglect things when they do well, and we kind of blow it up when they don't do things well. So if we can take notice of the small things and give them likes in real life, I feel they may not go into the virtual life. That is
Mm.
one important thing. And if they're too much wanting the likes, there may
Mm.
be a chance that they may be having ADHD or depression. I had one child with sexual abuse. Okay. She
Okay.
was abused by her grandfather and by her brother. And she used to wear a coat all the time. She hated herself. The only time she felt good was when she got the likes on the social media. So,
Oh,
we have to explore more. Why do they want the likes? As far as the age is concerned, by the age of 15 years, the adult decision capacity in an adolescent is there. But there is a catch here. The catch here is it's only in cold cognition when the child is very calm. But if the child is excited or it's very stressful, then they will again make wrong decisions. So
right.
if you ask me the age, I would say if you have talked to the child well and you have told them this is your time, this is the only time which you're going to get, well, you can put your reels of dancing, but real life dancing is even greater. I would love to see you dance in real life. And
Yes.
if the child puts a little bit more than 15-year-old, I think nothing to worry. Nothing to
Right.
worry. But you have to be very, very careful and you need to monitor. That's very important. How much time are they just wanting likes from there and not wanting likes? Have they stopped interacting with other people? That is what we need to work.
Correct. Thank you, ma'am.
There is another question on this only, that children wants to have Facebook, Insta, and Snapchat at a very tender age. So they have a fear of left out. So how can we deal this? And if there are red flag signs, do you have to take psychiatrist help?
Yes. So nowadays children are getting into social media earlier. So just like, they say, all my friends drink alcohol. But in our family, nobody drinks alcohol. So if you have those family values told right in the beginning, the same will hold good for social media is what I'm saying. And, sometimes you don't need to be very authoritarian. You may even discuss, see, this is why I don't want you to be. And yes, you will have your time, maybe by 15 years, like I said, how the brain is developing, or maybe by 18 years, whatever you feel is the right time, you're going to get. So sometimes that postponement may help. The second thing is, if there is too much of persistence, you're not able to manage, then you can have some other rules. So I'm giving that flexibility that you should use the media only in my presence. No hiding password. I should have the password. I should be able to access it. I'm sitting next to you and you can use it. Maybe for children who are around 14, 15, right? So it depends on how much time can you spend on monitoring the child and being with the child, basically. That is important. And now when I said the flag signs of digital addiction, yes. So just like we do in tobacco, we have to follow the 3 A's: ask, assess, assist. Okay. So ask how much media, what do you feel after using the media? And also assess, is it a recreational use? Is it a problematic use? Is it addiction? Is it withdrawal? Is it tolerance? We have to do a slight assessment. We have some scales which are available. One is the PRIS scale: problematic, risky, internet use screening scale. It's a 18 it has 18 questions, so you can use that. You have a shorter scale which is called PRIS 3, only 3 questions. Okay, so you can even use those, and these are all available readily online. You can download them and you can use them, right? So this will give you some assessment. Like I said, you have to look for the head psychosocial history. Which are the stressors? I told you a very simple case. And I can tell you many cases are stemming for children being lonely, parents not spending time with them, parents having mental problems, parents having conflicts amongst them. And if we can pick up on the stressor and help to relieve that, that would be great. We use the technique of motivational interviewing. Like I had this 10th standard student who said, I want to top the board. That was her aim. It was not her mother's aim or the teacher's aim. I want to top the board. Then I asked her, what is not allowing you to top? She said, because I spent so much time on the mobile. She herself came out. So the technique of motivational interviewing is eliciting the goal and telling how is your behavior in discrepancy and how can you reduce the use. Believe it or not, she stopped internet use in the 10th standard. She did not, top the board, but she topped her school. When in 12th standard, the mother said, doctor, last time she left the phone because of you, now help her. She said, no, I'm not going to leave the phone. With the phone, I'm going to top my class. And she did. So you see how it happens that, what we may do, we may intervene, we may be successful, sometimes we may not be successful. And as long as the child is achieving her goals without an unhealthy use, I think it is okay. We can learn how to chill. Of course, you can assist them. The assistance can be done by sharing various, information with them, also telling them how they can do relaxation when they feel stressed out. I think teaching them a little bit of mindful meditation, yoga is really, really very good because most of the children use this to cope with stress. So if we can, kind of develop that connect with them and exercise, hobbies, which they've forgotten because of media use, gradually tell them and ask them, how did you find this? How was the time? Keep a logbook. And if you have a good rapport with them, actually, these are not difficult things to do. And they believe you, they trust you, they will listen more to you than their parents. And if you're not successful for more than 6 weeks of counseling, calling them once every 2 weeks, then it's time to probably refer them. I would not try more than 6 weeks usually. And if there is comorbidity, severe depression, severe substance use disorder, severe anxiety, severe ADHD, then I would probably refer them much more earlier.
I think now it's more than 30 minutes for the question answers and time for concluding the session. May I request Raigad AHA Vice President Dr. Swati Likhite to do the honors. Dr. Swati, please.
Yeah. It was really illustrative, captivating, and an engaging talk which we have listened to, madam, and it was really great listening to her. And we look forward for more such sessions. For giving a formal vote of thanks. This session on digital exploration in children and its effect of social media on early child development was very informative, and I'm sure all the viewers have gained knowledge about the topic. I thank both the speakers, Dr. Preeti Madam and also Dr. Shilpa, for their wonderful presentations. I also thank Palghar IIB President Dr. Jayashree Madam, Secretary Dr. Anuradha Madam, and also I thank Dr. Vikas More, who is IIB Raigad Branch President, and Dr. Ajay Kohli, who is the Secretary of IIT Raigad Branch, and Dr. Neha Singh, and our very own Dr. Chitra Madam, AHA President. And also I thank all the viewers who are watching this session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we must also thank Dr. Neha for that special flyer which she has prepared.
Yes,
and it
yes.
was having a huge impact. Probably it should be used for some cover of the textbook, ma'am, as we urge it. It is
Yes,
so
yes.
nice. And we are also thankful to the Central AHA team which they have joined, as well as Rotary Club of Kharghar Midtown and Navi Mumbai Doctors Association who are watching this program. Thank you very much. And this program would not have been possible without President Dr. Jayashree Deshpande, where she has provided the link, and Pallavi Dharmadikari, who is managing YouTube and the link. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pallavi madam, Preeti Galgali madam, and so nice to hear from you. We would like to learn more from you.
So nice. Thank you so much. I'm humbled and thank you for asking wonderful questions. I think this is the best set of questions that I've ever been asked. It made me think so much and I had to really straighten my
Okay.
gray cells.
Sir
Thank you
wants
so
to
much.
Dr.
ask.
Hemant Joshi, Dr. Hemant Joshi is traveling, but he wants to ask one question. Hello. Hello,
Sir,
sir.
please.
Sanga.
Please ask, sir.
जयश्री पल्लवीला सांग की तू सगळ्या ब्रांचेसना आपला वापरू दे वेन वी आर नॉट युझिंग तर ते पैसे वसूल तरी होतील
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
no problem.
Pallavi ma'am, you may stop the recording now.
Yes, ma'am.